Mirko Cro is a legendary kickboxer and mixed martial artist. As he has now officially retired after a long and noteworthy career, it seems a fitting time to take a look at what made Cro such a feared and exciting competitor, focusing on his ring craft and insane fight-stopping power. Some fighters may dominate through high volume and work rate. Cro was not one of those fighters. He did not wear down his opponents over time, or even catch them with well set up combinations. Usually, one strike was all it took. Cro was excellent at throwing these techniques when his opponents were least prepared, delivering the strike when they were off balance or mid-movement. He would set a slow rhythm, marching forward lackadaisically, and then suddenly up the cadence to explode into a devastating attack. In this way, Cro built an effective, well-respected style based on intimidation and power. The majority of Cro knockouts were the result of one of three powerful techniques: a cross, a roundhouse to the liver, or a roundhouse kick to the head. His competitor had to figure out which of the three were coming in a split second and react instantly. To have the time necessary to set up his one-strike knockouts, Cro first had to establish control and dictate the distance and the pace of the fight. Once Cro established himself as a threat, all it would take was a small movement or light feint to keep his opponents at bay and on edge. Against a tougher, braver, or more skilled competitor, Cro needed to work harder to slow down the pace. There are many ways to slow down the action in a fight besides feints, clinching being the most popular amongst them. But the problem with clinching, even when a fighter is effective at it, is that it often tires him just as much as his opponent. And more importantly, it fails to deliver any kind of immediate threat, but evading and countering does. Cro excelled at this. He would either slip his opponent's punch to lead him into one of his own, or he would move back and inside, fading off angle before stopping short and leading his opponent into a punch he never saw coming. It was this technique that resulted in his victory over Vanderlei Silva and set up the shot that broke the orbital bone of Bob's sack. Combined with framing and sprawling, this concept worked equally well in MMA. Instead of setting up strikes, Cro set up superior positions to control his competitors. Now that we know how Cro controlled the ring, let's examine how he set up his signature move, the roundhouse kick. For all of his power, perhaps Cro best attribute was his precision. He was able to angle his kicks in just the right way, either going over his opponent's guard to catch the dome of their head, or going just underneath their elbow to land a liver shot. But the truly crucial element of Cro kicks can seem at first minuscule. The biggest factor was the way that he delayed the extension of his leg until the very last moment, well past the time most fighters performed the action. This meant that his opponents often tried to parry his kick past his knee, where they thought Cro shin should already be. This usually stops a round kick halfway, whether its target is the head or the body. But of course, Cro shin wasn't there, and his knee soon arced past their parry, with Cro at times only extending when his knee was already past the center line. While the payoff of this technique was probably unplanned, the concept of waiting until the last second to release your strike is a great way to remain deceptive for both punches and kicks. It leaves the opponent unsure about which strike is coming or where it will land. To give some idea of the extreme delay and incredible acceleration of Cro round kicks, watch how his kick goes from chambered to extension in just one frame. Cro kicked so fast that in real time, his leg appeared to pass over his opponent's head. Only in slow motion can we appreciate the true magnitude of the strike. Cro made an impact, or rather several impacts, on the sports of kickboxing and MMA. Although it's sad to see him leave, it's hard to imagine a more exciting and prolific career. If you're interested in upping your own game, you can check out my best-selling books on footwork and power, linked in the comments below. From the modern martial artist This has been David Christian, wishing you happy training.